I just say, I want to get this on record, but I love the intro part that you put up about like, hey, take a look around your space and breathe and settle in. I'm like, yeah, great. Yes, thank you.
It's funny because every once in a while, I actually am like in tune, like watching, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad because I need to.
Yeah.
And then we get here, and I'm so happy because I've actually like done the work that the intro tells us to do. Anyway, this is hi Journeyers. Hi, you're hanging out with me and Luke, and we are talking about improv and drama therapy and how it all just is in our lives. Luke, you know what's coming.
I do. I'm excited. I'm excited because it's a new theme this month, and it's navigation. Who has the map? Does it matter? Do I lead or follow? Improv and trauma therapy, help me! Did I line read that correctly? Okay, cool, great.
If you don't know, Luke is an actor, scripted work, doing it, commercials, acting, movies, all of it, and sight reading on 100% on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we are navigating a lot. And this is we're at the very first of the month, the first of our shows of the month. So I like to we're keeping it broad and whatnot, and then we'll get more narrow as we move through. But yeah, this idea of leading and following is big in my head almost all the time. Am I leading? Am I supposed to be following? Do I have to follow the person that says they're the leader? Ooh, you know what, Luke? We'll listen. Before the show, I was like, bring that stuff into the show because you've been doing a lot, talking about leading and following. You've been going up to the Capitol and being amazing. And this idea of do we have to follow blindly the leader that says they're the leader? Do we? I don't think we do.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Yeah. I mean, well, one, every person is different. And so everyone's going to have different opinions and everything like that, but like I've been going to the Capitol to like drop a card to advocate for human rights, and dropping a card basically just means that casting your opinion on different bills in Congress that are happening, either House or Senate. And so, I've been doing that recently, and so there are people on these committees that say that like, oh, we're the leaders, we know what's happening, but at the same time, it's like, why are you targeting one specific group of people when there are a lot of other things that are more pertinent that are going on? And so I've been voicing my my opposition with that and being like, hey, let's not target different groups of people and let's just focus back on how we can treat each other with kindness and respect and the wonderful things of life,
right. I mean, it's like we don't often get, and we won't dive, like I'm not going to pry all up in there, but we don't often talk about like our political views. And what you said was, how do we get back onto a page where we're treating each other kindly and with respect? And the notion to like to come right back to who has the map, doesn't matter, do I lead or follow? We share the map. I feel like we share the map of human rights. We share the map of life. We share it. We're all intertwined and affecting each other as we move through the world and through life. And this, do I lead or follow? Really, you said at the very beginning, everyone's different. Everyone's going to be affected differently. So it fluctuates whether you're leading or following. And
Yeah.
right now, it seems to me that, and it fluctuates and it looks different, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right now, it seems to me that on some spectrum, you're leading, right?
Mhm.
You're leading, you're helping to lead just by just us chatting about this,
Yeah.
and people, oh, can I do that? I can just walk my ass to the Capitol. I can
It takes 5 minutes. It's great.
uh,
Yeah.
and be a part of change,
Mhm.
and treating each other better.
Yeah.
Which, okay, so that we're shoot right onto the stage. We were off stage, right onto the stage. We can I change this scene?
Mhm.
Right? That's what you're doing. You're changing the landscape or the scene of America, of Texas, right?
Mhm.
And we ask ourselves a lot when we're off stage, literally in a show off stage. Can I change this scene? Like, I don't like this scene, or this
Mhm.
scene seems done, or I have an idea. I have an idea is a great one.
Mhm.
But the people on stage are doing something and they look like they are really, it's real precious, or they're really into it, or it's really important. Maybe I should just leave it alone.
Yeah.
But really, sometimes the people on stage don't know what they're doing any more than you know what you're doing. And the answer is yes, you can change the scene. You can edit it, you
Mhm.
can get in there, you can
Mhm.
add a character, you can subtract a character, you can add some scene painting. You can get into that framework.
Yeah. And I was wondering, it reminded me of an improv game. I was wondering if I could talk about it.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Good. Like there's the improv game where basically it's the mirror game,
Hmm.
where like the teacher designates a clear, you're in a partnership. One person is the leader, one person is the follower, and no words, just movements. And so, but and then it switches who's the leader, who's a follower, and then at the end, it's like you're both leaders and both followers. It's like, wow. Um, what I find really fascinating is that there's a lot of agreement that happens beforehand. There's
Mm,
agreement with like we will listen to the teacher, and we'll do what they ask us to do because we're in improv class. Then there's agreement with the partner being like, okay, I'm going to go along with that movement. And then also, there is agreement being like, oh, the we may be limited physically somehow.
mhm.
Say one of us is in a wheelchair, one of us is standing. And so we may need to like adjust our physicality, to fit how the partnership. So there's agreement with that. So there's a lot of like, um, you know, like the person who's leading is agreeing that they're going to lead with with the follower in mind, and then the
Mhm.
follower in mind, it's like I'm going to trust this leader, but I'm also like it's like they need to speak up if there's something that's like, hey, this isn't working, and so
Right.
to work it out.
Yeah, there's the tail end of that part is the trust that you
Yeah.
said. Like, I'm trusting that my leader has my best interest in mind as we are mirroring each other.
Hmm.
And to connect that to the does it matter? The For me, the idea is, well, what is the mattering?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the
Yeah.
mattering?
Right.
So as in, what what are we trying to accomplish together? If
Hmm.
we're telling a story on stage, then the story is the matter. What that is what matters. If we're doing this exercise that you're talking about, what is the matter? It's a give and take and an exercise in trust.
Hmm.
And it's an exercise in exactly what we're talking about. Like, what do I need? Right? My partner is doing this, my arms are
Hmm.
getting tired, right? Like, what do
Yeah.
I need? And does it matter? Yeah, it matters. I matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
matter. So,
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
now we can, yeah, exactly. Like, just sort of maybe do something a little less, or a little in tune to my body.
mhm.
And and our expectation, and this is like some of the great stuff of improv, right? the expectation is that the leader is going to see that you're changing what's happening, and then they're going to reciprocate. They're going to now
Mhm.
follow. They're going to drop this like, I am the leader
Yeah.
perspective, and they're going to follow what it is that you need, and
Mhm.
then vice versa, and we can move through that together.
Mhm.
That matter, what matters, what is the matter, does it matter, but what matters is the both of us. And then when
Yeah.
you expand and there are 10 people doing the mirror game, it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
Everybody is sharing the experience.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and like to go further, like in social situations, like like finding like does it matter? Like at one point, you came to an agreement with another person to go forward, for whatever matter that you wanted to agree on.
Right.
Like cool, I will, like I will. Uh, ride bikes with you, like
Hmm.
I will, great, perfect, perfect. But at the same time, if getting into situations being like like, we're riding around like some weird places, or like we're riding right into the river, what,
Right.
it's probably not the,
I don't want to write into
I
the
don't
river.
want, yeah, it's, I don't feel like it right now, thank you, yeah. So it's like, yeah,
Right.
it's makes me uncomfortable, so
Hmm.
like and so navigating that in terms of like you're navigating more of the trust, about like, okay, how far, as a leader, do I go, or like
Mm.
because if I go too far, then I'm not a leader of anybody anymore.
Yes, no one's back there. No
Yeah.
one's on this bike ride.
No one, where's the, like they have gone on, so
Hmm.
like, and as well as like, yeah, so you have to like, come back to like, it's come back to those agreements, be like, hey, and what adjustments need to be made, to understand that, so
Absolutely.
um sorry, yeah,
Bye.
I'm navigating a different situation. So look, my air conditioning, is has been fixed. So where I was giving a thumbs up to be like, yay, it's been fixed. But yeah, so that I was navigating that,
You
and
have to navigate that, as well as that air condition repair person has to
yeah.
navigate fixing the air condition. You both have
Hmm.
to navigate. They have to navigate the fact that they have a job and they need to respect what you're
Yeah.
doing in the
Right.
process. And you are navigating that you have a job and you're
Yeah.
respecting and grateful for the
Yeah.
process that they are
Yes.
going through.
Very grateful, especially, oof, man, it's a stuffy hot day.
Yeah, we live in
But
Texas.
yeah, yeah. Um, and but yeah, and also like, I mean, like I needed to communicate beforehand about like, hey, I'm gonna, be having this chat, with Shannon, and so just to let you know, just give you a heads up, this is what I need to do, but at the same time, yeah, I had to figure that out, navigate it.
There is something about that what you're saying about n- the the chat beforehand that
Yeah.
is actually really important to me,
Mm.
because we tend to just sort of assume that someone has our best interest, and that chat is really important when it
Yeah.
comes to not assuming, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't want to assume that. So for the improv stage, we do that, I guess, in the green room before a show, right?
Hmm.
We chat about what everybody's expectations are. We chat about what their boundaries are.
Yeah.
We chat about these things so that when we are in a situation where we're making things up on the spot, right? It's
Hmm.
not necessarily that we are just that we are making it up. We
Yeah.
are we are working within the boundaries that people have put set up for us.
Yeah.
And that's so big when I look at like who has the map, and I was saying we all share the map. The map represents some boundaries. The map isn't blank, right?
Right.
We have a
Right.
map because we are navigating to somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right. And so, and beforehand, we say, okay, we're going to take, going back to your bike, we're going to take paved roads, or we're going to take
Yeah.
mountain roads, or we're
Hmm.
going to put our bikes on our backs and we have to walk some of the way, or,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
what,
Figure.
we're going to bike through the river. So get ready.
Yeah, I know. Bring your scuba gear.
Right. But
Yeah.
those, that way, when we're in the middle of it, when we're in the middle of, okay, well, here's a split and we have to make decisions. We're either taking, there's a paved road or a hike or a trail of some sort. We can all say, like, we can look to the leader, we can
Yeah.
look to each other, and we can expect that whatever is being done, it's being done because of the parameters we set up in the chat before this ride or before this show or before this whatever we're going through.
Yeah, yeah, and similarly and even before I start any drama therapy sessions, there's always like informed consent. So there's always like,
Mm.
mapping out, like you're making I would say a social contract, a social agreement over like what is going to happen and then what isn't going to happen in the
Mhm.
session, in the room, with other people, respecting boundaries, this is and any ailments that come up, just let me know. We like to be expected is that we will, work with our imagination and play in a way to work through situations as well, and create some different characters and everything like that. But at the same
Mhm.
time, there's also like the, the limits of a personal boundary, being like, hey, I don't feel comfortable playing into that scene or playing that character. I'm going to hang back for a bit. Or
Mhm.
like, you know what, I really have to work this out with the group, and I have to figure this out, and I want to figure this out, and I need to play this character, I need to play the situation, and I need to figure it out with the group. um
Mhm.
and so navigating that, that kind of creates like, you're creating the map, like just as you are in the rehearsal room with improv,
Mm.
before you get on stage to do the show. Same with drama therapy, about like, hey, these are the parameters. And usually it's me as a leader, gives out the informed consent, and then I talk about it with the clients if there's any questions or anything like that they want to, or any additions that they want to add to it, as we navigate along.
Yeah. I wonder, this is a question for you.
Mhm.
Not you and not you back there. This is a question for Luke. So sit down. Do you, when you're in the space
Mhm.
of leading a drama therapy workshop, when are there times, how about that? Are there times where you do have to switch roles and become a follower?
Right. Yes. Yeah. There are.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to. Did I interrupt? Was
No,
there no? Okay.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So yes, there are times. Because like sometimes you're in a you're kind of there's some kind of there's some exercises where you get a little bit more organic about like, a little bit more loose about what's happening with the scene, about like,
Mm.
okay, it seems like this scene is going over here, this scene is going over here, especially with like, play therapy or developmental uh, transformations, DVT. Like there's times where, you know the leader still has like, the remote control, but the remote control is put to the side for a bit, about like, okay,
Mm.
we're all gonna play into this, and then but at a certain time, it seems like, um 15 minutes have passed, cool, so it seems like the alarm has come back, and we'll reset back to our, leader, client, or drama therapist client roles.
Mhm.
So we'll reset to that. But there's times, because sometimes, that like that's what's needed in the situation. It just
Mhm.
depends. So yeah.
Yeah, when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about just listening in general, becoming going from leadership role to follower role takes a lot of just listening in general to what
Yeah.
the people around you, what the circumstances are, what your community needs from you. And I feel that on stage, we, especially people who have been improvising a long time, and then you get into these situations where you've been improvising for years and years and years, and now you're on stage with newer, greener improvisers, and you can get into a space where you're like, I know how to do a scene, I know how to do this, we're gonna set this up, you're a protagonist, like you're just setting it up. What do we call it, like you're directing from the inside, right?
Hmm.
You're like in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
scene,
yeah.
but you're sort of directing from a character, in the character's point of view.
Hmm.
uh and this is, we talk about listening with newer improvisers, but I think it's really important on stage and off stage to recognize when we've been in a role a very long time, where we have the leadership role, we have the, I'm the drama therapist, you're the client, I'm the director of this show, you are the not director, you're the actor, right? um
Yeah.
and but the thing is, when you look around and you're really listening to your partners and your students and your clients on stage, you can really start to feel, oh, what I'm doing is not necessary. I don't need to
Right.
be strong arming
Hmm.
this scene.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna tell on myself. So I remember I was in a scene once. I was in a maestro, and maestro, for those of you who don't know, is a what, not graded, but
A competition.
competition
Yeah.
style show. Yeah. And I was called. My number was called. I got on stage. Somebody else's number was called. At that point, I had been improvising, I don't know, 15 years, something like that. And this person who got called on stage with me was just like months, poor baby, into their time. I know. And I thought I had that. Luke, don't judge me,
I
okay? This is
won't. I
seriously.
won't.
I had this thought, if you, this person, I was like, if you just be quiet, I can get us a 5. Like, which is the highest like points you can get in that style of setting. If you just be quiet, I can get us a 5. And do you know, we got like a 2 in that scene? Yeah, we got a 2.
Mm.
And was it her fault? No. No, it wasn't. It wasn't her fault. It was my fault. You know why? Because I was an asshole. That's why. But more appropriately, more appropriately for like navigation,
Hmm.
I was trying to navigate the scene from inside the scene instead
Yeah.
of listening to what my partner was giving.
Hmm.
And this is the part. Does it matter? Yes, it matters, because what were we trying to accomplish? We're trying to accomplish working together for the benefit of the story or the scene. But we
Yeah.
were unable to do that because I was like so into navigating, being the leader and
Hmm.
you being the follower, that I couldn't listen to her offers. I couldn't hear or respond well. Um, it's just, it was a real learning lesson. It was a real learning moment for me.
Yeah. 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 And like, there's, I mean, like similarly, like, I'm teaching, Improv 101 right now. And, like coming back to Improv 101, like like it happened last week where, I kept on giving directions where the person was just, I could tell that they were just figuring it out. They were figuring out like,
Mhm.
okay, I know my role of the scene, whereas I knew that game, all the way around. So I was like, oh yeah, and you could do, oh yeah, and rather than seeing what they were offering and then
Mm.
letting them figure it out. Um,
Mhm.
and like, yeah, it's difficult because like if you have all this experience, it's like you want to like give it, you want to use it, you want to figure out like how to like show it and show
Right.
it off, and to like be like, hey, like, yeah, I can get us to a 5, easy, done. I can do this. I can do this. Just, you
Yes.
know, and yeah, it's hard, with like leaders with a lot of experience in the same area,
Mhm.
uh, like it's just hard. It's hard because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you have all this background knowledge that the other person doesn't know. So yeah.
Oh man. Okay, Luke, we don't have time, but I'm going to try it. Okay.
Okay.
So this is reminding me of internal family systems. Is that a
Yeah.
word? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's the whole phrase. Yeah.
I know that's a whole phrase. Okay,
Yeah.
that you've used before, and it reminds me. Man, there's there's a thing that happens even within us as leaders to ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Where we think we have a lot of experience going into a situation, and then but there's something in us that's like has that's fearful. Maybe it's our, I don't know, our younger selves or our
Yeah.
something. I'm not the trauma therapist, but I guess I'm getting at like there is there is a care or an awareness and care that we also should have for ourselves when
Yeah.
we move into situations and we go in and we're like, I can do this. I can get this job. I can uh, teach this class. I
Mhm.
can, whatever, cook this meal, whatever it
Yeah.
is. And then there's like a maybe you fail, maybe you don't. Um, Maybe you don't, you're unable to accomplish the thing, or what is it, have the map, like maybe you're
Yeah.
unable to do it, and then because you've gone through with leadership mind and no care for this younger fearful
Mhm.
self part of yourself, you can get really caught up in not self-doubt but like that belittling yourself
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
um I
Yeah.
wonder. I don't know. I'm just like hearing this
Yeah.
some importance of being kind to yourself as in a leadership role, leading yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So giving yourself grace and being like, okay, like and realizing that like, yeah, that didn't work so well. But at the same time, I learned that like I needed to give myself some time, some grace and comfort, and to be
Mhm,
like, and awareness to that fearful side. Being like, you know
mhm.
what, I was scared to bake. I was scared to cook something. I was scared to ride the bicycle. And like it's all about and part of internal family systems is about like recognizing that emotion and really exploring like, okay, why is this emotion coming up, what's needed here, and how can I take care of my fearful side with this
Mm,
situation.
mhm.
And sometimes like there's an urgency to a matter that's happening, excuse me, and sometimes you're just like, oh god, I gotta make quick decisions, I'll figure it out later. But
Yes.
but what you're doing sometimes is like, you're squandering away those emotions. Sometimes for safety and security, definitely do that. Like definitely do that. But I'm just talking about like those social situations where you're taking the next step risk. Something,
Yeah.
a calculated risk, like I'm gonna bake something new. I'm gonna ride my bicycle over this gravelly part now. Ugh, like
Mhm.
and so like it's a matter of like figuring out like, okay, when do I need to let go of the leadership role and just kind of follow where my emotions go, and then I can come back
Ooh.
as a leader, full more informed about myself. Yeah.
Let go of the leadership role, follow my emotions so I can come back more informed as a leader.
Yeah.
That's just like, okay, friends. Okay, I wanna talk to all of you. I really want to just keep going, but the thing is, we're here. We're
Yeah.
at 31 minutes, and Luke has done the thing where he, you know, drops the mic. So listen, whether you're following people around or no, this is I can figure this out.
You got
Whether look, just be a leader and a follower on and
off the stage.
there we go. We did it.
We did
Bye,
it.
everybody.